Hello my friends, welcome to your 20-minute yoga flow practice. So for our practice today, we're not going to need any props, just you and your body. We're going to work a lot on the hips and the hamstrings, so nothing too strenuous at all for our practice today, just something that's really nourishing and opening and just giving you that beautiful 20-minute window to spend some time with yourself. So let's get started. So we're going to start in a seated position. So you might be cross legs like I am. You might have legs out in front. You might want to sit up on a cushion, whatever feels good for you here. And then let's start with the eyes closed down and resting your hands over your knees with the palms facing up. And we'll just take a few moments of stillness here before we start to bring some movement into the body. So you want to make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall through the spine, so you've got even weight between left and right sit bones. And then the spine is nice and long, so the crown of your head, it's reaching up towards the sky. And just softening your shoulders, softening your jaw, your belly. Let's start to scan your body. Notice if you're holding any tension here. If you find any points of tension in your body, can you invite your breath into these spaces and then just allow and just invite these points of tension to dissolve, to let go. And now moving your awareness to your breath. Just observing the way in which your breath is flowing through your body. Feeling the breath moving in and out of your nostrils. Feel your lungs, your entire torso expanding and contracting with the breath. Let's start to deepen our breath a little bit here. We'll take 5 big breaths here together before we start to move our body. Take a long, deep inhale through your nose. Long, steady exhale through the nose. 4 more times like that. Inhaling through the nose into your chest, ribs, down into the belly. Exhale, belly, ribs and chest. 3 more to go. Inhale through nose into chest, ribs and belly. Exhale, belly, ribs and chest. Twice more in your own time. And returning now to your natural breath. And keeping this beautiful connection to your breath as we start to flow into the practice. And when you feel ready, you can gently start to blink open your eyes, coming back. And let's come over onto hands and knees. So we'll come straight on into cat-cow to start. So you've got knees stacked under the line of your hips and hands just forward of the shoulders. As we inhale, we'll start to drop through the belly, lift up through the heart, lift your gaze. Exhale, tucking your chin, rounding through your spine. Let's do that again. Inhale, belly drops, heart lifts. Exhale, rounding your spine. Let's do 3 more rounds here. So you just move now at your pace. We're synchronizing our movements with the breath. And just using the cat-cow to connect to the breath, just to bring a little bit more heat and energy and movement and flow into the body. This is our last round here together. Inhale, come back to center. As we exhale, let's tuck the toes and lift the hips and come up into our first downward facing dog. So you might like to stay still here in your dog pose. You might like to move around in the pose, see how you feel. Now through the palms and through the fingertips of your hands. Your sit bones are tilting and separating up towards the spine. And the heels work towards your mat. So they make tension there, you're directing one. And then when you're ready, gently drop down to the knees. We're just going to do 3 little rounds of some floor salutations just to warm up a little bit more before we move into our first sequence. So we're on hands and knees here again. As we inhale, let's start to drop the belly and lift the gaze. Exhale, rounding the spine. This time as we inhale, we come up onto the knee. Exhale, hands down through heart and press back into child's pose. Let's do that again. Inhale onto hands and knees and open the heart. Exhale, rounding the spine. Inhale to rise all the way up. Exhale, hands through heart, press back, child's pose. Just go for one more round here in your own time. Exhale, hands through heart. Let's pause here in child's pose, Balasana. So you're stretching your arms out long. Third eye comes. If it's not comfortable for your third eye to rest down to the mat, you can place one hand on top of the other and make a little pillow for the third eye. Soften, pause here for 3 big breaths. Just notice the heat in your body. Notice your breath. Just reconnect to your breath. One more breath here. And as we inhale, slowly roll on up through the spine, come over onto hands and knees, and then exhale, let's step the right foot forward. So right foot comes forward, left knee stays grounded. Now if you've got sensitive knees, you might like to roll your mat over so that you've got a little bit of extra padding. Otherwise you could grab a cushion as well off the couch and pop it under your back knee just for that little bit of extra padding. Now we're framing the front foot here with the fingertips. Spine is nice and long. And before we move here, let's just bring our awareness down into the hips. Just notice how the hips are feeling today. Maybe take a little sway from side to side. Starting to get some energy into the hip space. Coming back to stillness now. This time as we inhale, let's start to peel that right foot up off the mat. So we're bringing some length into the right leg. We're still warming up, so you might want to have a little bend in the knee here if you need to. And then exhale to bend. Let's do that twice more. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bend. This time as we inhale, we'll lengthen through that right leg and pause. So remember, you can bend the knee here if you need to, draw back on the right hip, lengthen through the spine. So you could stay here if that feels good for you. You can flex your right foot. If you're going on, use your next exhale to start to fold forward here. So you're folding forward over the right leg. So we're feeling that beautiful space and length here through the back of the right leg. Working with the exhale to see if you can very subtly and very mindfully fold a little bit deeper. As we inhale, lengthen through the spine, bend your front knee. Now we're going to come up into Anjayasana, crescent lunge. So we're resting the hands to the front of that right knee. And let's just pause here for a moment. So I want you to feel like you're kind of sinking down into the hips. So we're starting to get that beautiful release through the hips. Right. But I want you to balance it out by pressing through the sole of the right foot. So sinking down, press through the sole of the right foot. So you're balancing that energy, you're drawing the energy back up into the hips. And let's just pause here. So spine is nice and long. We're breathing. One more big breath here together. Now from here, we're going to come into a twist. So option 1, right hand to right hip, left hand to right knee. If you're pregnant, you will rotate around in the other direction so that it's an open twist. So you'd have right hand to right knee, left hand to left hip. But otherwise, we'll come into this beautiful closed twist. As we inhale, we'll lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, start to take a little twist here. So maybe you can look over your right shoulder. 2 more big breaths. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. 1 more breath working in this way. Turning the head back first. Use the inhale to gently release. Drop the fingertips down to your mat. Now from here, just walk your right foot out a little bit wider on your mat. So you're bringing both hands to the inside of the right foot. I'll just swing around so that you can see what I'm doing from the other direction. So right foot comes out a little wider on the mat just to create some space. Both hands come to the inside of the right foot. So you want a nice long spine here, so you can keep gazing just forward of your hands. Now you can already feel here that this is really strong for the hips already. So this might be enough for you here, and you're more than welcome to stay here. If you know that you can go deeper, you're welcome to. So you could come down onto that pillow. If you grabbed a hold of your pillow, you might come all the way down to the forearms. This is really strong though, so it's totally optional. Honor your body today. See what your body needs in this moment. If you do come all the way down onto the forearms, just make sure you can maintain the integrity of your pose. So making sure you've got a nice long spine, making sure you can maintain your breath. So we don't want to be holding the breath at any point throughout the practice. The breath is always our number 1 priority. Let's spend a couple more breaths here before we transition out of the pose. 1 more big breath here. Inhale, draw a big deep breath in through the nose. Long, steady exhale through the nose. As we inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the head, walk the fingertips back. Now just start to move your weight backwards here. Maybe swing the right leg out behind you. Have a nice, beautiful little stretch there behind you. Let the energy run through the right leg. And then when you're ready, let's change sides. So we're stepping the left foot forward now. If you needed the padding on the other side, you might like to pad this side up as well. So you could roll that mat over or take a hold of your cushion. Coming up into Anjayasana on this side, crescent lunge. So here again, left knee stacked over the top of the left ankle. Nice long spine. We're finding the balance here of sinking down through those hips to get the beautiful deep hip opening, and also balancing it out by pressing through the sole of your left foot now. So sinking down and also drawing the energy back up, inviting those hips to start to open up nicely here. And you might find that this side feels different than the other. So maybe the first side was more open or less open than the other. That's quite a common experience with the hips. Just 1 more big breath here together. Now let's come into our twist. So if you're coming with me for the closed twist, left hand to left hip, right hand to left knee. If you're pregnant, come around to the other direction so it's a nice open twist. 3 big breaths here. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, twist. Rotating around to your left, maybe you can start to take a little look over your left shoulder. 2 more breaths here. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. 1 more breath working in this way. Use the inhale to gently release. Come back to center. Bring your fingertips down to your mat and then just walk your left foot out so it's a little bit wider on the mat so we can create some space here. Now, option 1 is to stay on the palms of the hands. So remember, that's already really strong, so you might choose to stay here. If you can come down a little bit deeper, maybe you come down onto your pillow, or you can come all the way down to the forearms. See how you go on this side. And then we'll spend a few big, beautiful breaths here. So we often hold a lot of tension and a lot of emotions in the hips. And so if anything starts to come up for you here, I really invite you just to lean into this sensation. And just allow the energy and allow the emotions to run. 1 more big breath here. As we inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the head, walk the fingertips back. Start to move your weight backwards here so we can just release out of the pose. Maybe have a nice little stretch out here through the left leg. And then from here, let's come over onto our sit bones. And we're going to come into butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana. So we've got soles of the feet together, knees drop out wide. So the closer that your feet are to your body, the stronger it will feel. So if it's a little bit too much, you could just walk your feet out wide to make a nice wide diamond shape. And just make sure you're up nice and high on those sit bones. Inhale to draw length and energy into the spine. You might even choose to stay here and close the eyes down for a few breaths. If you're coming with me, use the exhale to fold. So start to fold and soften down. Just folding to the degree that serves you here. Bringing your awareness to the hips. So you'll feel this now both in the inner and the outer hips. Letting go of any residual tension that you can feel in your hip space here. Allowing your knees to fall wider with the exhale. Just 3 more big breaths here in butterfly. As we inhale slowly, if you came to fold forward, start to roll on up through the spine. Come on up to sitting. Just draw your knees in towards each other. And then we're coming to lay down onto the mat. Just softening your back body down into your mat. And from here, so knees are bent if they aren't already, cross the right ankle over the left knee. Option 1 is to stay here. So we're working the outer right hip now. Option 2 is to press that knee away from you. That'll give you a little bit of an extra opening through the outer hip. And then option 3, if it's available, you can draw your knees towards your body. So you're getting a big, beautiful release now through the right glute. So into this space. Just soften your shoulders so they're resting flat against the mat. Big, deep, even breath here. Just another 2 big breaths here together. And after your last breath here, gently release. So if you've got the legs floated up off the mat, just drop that left foot down to the mat. We're coming straight into a twist to finish, dropping the knees over to the left. Right arm comes out beside you at shoulder height, so you want to make sure that both of your shoulders stay grounded to the mat here. Turn your gaze over your right fingertips for a full, beautiful spinal twist here. Two more deep breaths here together. As we inhale, let's gently release, roll on back to center. Just realign your spine if it came a little bit off center and change sides. So we're hooking the left ankle to the right knee. Option 1 is to stay here. Option 2, press that knee away from you. And then option 3, if it's available, is just to draw your knees towards your chest. Just soften your shoulders down into the mat here again. Breathe into that outer left hip. So again, this side might feel different than the other. So just adjusting as you need to. Just a few more big breaths here together as we come more towards the end of our beautiful 20-minute hip class. And now from here, let's gently release, coming into the twist. So drop your knees to your right. Stretch your left arm out beside you. So it's out at shoulder height, both shoulders are connected to the mat, and then turn your gaze over your left fingertips. Feel that beautiful spinal twist here. One more big breath here together. And then as we inhale, gently release, roll back to center, realign the spine. Just starting to roll around in one direction, so feel that beautiful massage for the lower back. And then you can come around in the other direction. Coming back to center, gently release. We're setting up for Shavasana now, which is our final. So for your Shavasana, you'll stretch your legs out long and just allow the feet to flop out to the side. Arms will rest beside you, palms facing up, and the eyes will gently close. And I invite you just to stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you have available. Normally we like to stay for a minimum of 5 minutes, but even if it's just 1 or 2 minutes to integrate our beautiful hip opening practice, whatever you've got time for here. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, and I'll see you